Three, two, and one. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Red Thoughts with Perry Picasso. I'm your host, Perry Picasso, and today I am joined by a very lovely guest.
Mayra Zambrano.
Woo! So, welcome, Myra. Myra is an incredible interdisciplinary artist based here in Southern California, and she, her pronouns, right? I feel like
She,
I should
her, they,
ask
them.
this.
It's
She, her,
okay.
they, them?
Yeah.
Okay, slay, I go he, she, they, any. Um, And so, yeah, so she's currently showing right now at the Cheech alongside all of the other amazing artists for the Desde Los Cielos group show. Currently on display from now until March 16th of 2025. Go check it out.
Yes.
And yeah, so before we start talking about that work, I would love to hear more about you, your journey as an artist, how it sort of came to be. Yeah, tell me.
So honestly, I went into the arts industry because I didn't really like the first major that I chose. I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
And I started taking the biology major at Cal State San Bernardino, and I was like, yeah, science is cool, but I don't think it's
It's
what I
not the
want to
vibe.
do for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot. Art is too, but there's something more that I feel like comes from the heart when I'm doing art
Mhm.
versus biology. And then I went in for painting and sculpture, and I didn't really know that glass was a thing until I saw it offered as a course. And from there, I just took it. I was like, what is glass? But I started in the pandemic, so I didn't really get to get the full experience of what glass blowing really is. I did more of like fusing and stuff like that, which is like panels of glass and stuff that's not really hot or you don't really put your mouth on, so that way you can't really transmit COVID.
Mhm.
So it was a little bit difficult, but that's kind of how I started in art.
Okay. So then, you wanted to originally go for veterinary school.
Yeah, I did.
So then, before that, I'm guessing you had to have some sort of desire for art, or was it just suddenly like a switch up that you were like, no, I want to do art instead while you were in college?
I think I want to say I was always artistically inclined. I remember growing up, I would always just have like these art projects that I would do, or like I'd make my mom cards, I'd make my dad cards, and then my mom would always ask me like, "Hey, can you do this for me? Like, you're artistically inclined. You just make things and it comes easy for you." So I don't know. I think I've just always been artistically inclined.
Okay, slay.
Yeah.
And so then you went out and then you transferred over your major to art
Art.
and you started doing painting, right?
Yeah.
Was it oil, acrylic? How was that like? Was it
So, oh, because I was already artistically inclined, I was painting with acrylic before in high
okay?
school. So I painted like for fun. And I think that's actually what made me choose art as a
Okay.
major. Like I already had an interest in it. Um but when I started in college, they taught us how to paint with oil, and oil is really, really cool. It's a medium that can last longer when you're trying to paint and when you're
Right.
trying to blend and stuff like that. But it was very difficult for me to get a grasp to because I already painted in acrylic before. But I get it now. I just also still like choose acrylic over oil for me. But
Okay.
it's really cool. I vibe with both of them. I have a lot of respect for people that oil paint because it's like you have to plan months ahead in order that to make sure that everything like dries.
Right.
Like, is your painting in the Cheech oil?
Yes, that large one is oil with gold leaf attached to it,
Yeah.
the actual painting, and then the rest of it is TV and sculpture and a bunch of other things. But the actual painting itself is oil.
Props, props, props.
Yeah.
King, king.
No, you. Oh my God. So, um, what I was gonna ask is, when I want to hear about your time at in college for art because I know that everyone has very different experiences. Like some colleges are more on the technical, some are on the more theoretical, some are very supportive of their artists, some are very just sort of dismissive of their artists. So I'm curious about how your experience is if you're comfortable sharing. Yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to though.
It's all good. I feel like as a student, I had a lot of support and a lot of like people wanted me to get to the finish point, and I feel like that was very, very nice. I feel like
Okay.
I found a lot more community outside of college, like downtown San Bernardino scene and here in Riverside. Um, the arts community is just so like special. But I do want to say that like I did get a lot of opportunities through my college and just being in the
Hmm.
art. Like I did do a mural for campus. They hired
Oh
me as a
wow.
student assistant, and we helped install a clay ceramic. Oh, clay is the same thing as ceramic, but yeah, ceramic tile mural on campus in front of the College of Education to signify like every educational field.
Hmm.
And then as well as Catherine Gray, She flew out a team of three to Washington, Tacoma, and we made a chandelier for the performing arts building on campus. So I feel like there was a lot of
Wow.
opportunities for me that like the school provided that I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, that sounds really good. It sounds
Yeah.
like they were trying to prepare you guys and give you actual like opportunities throughout. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. So then you have little, I'm hoping little to no art trauma of school.
No
Okay, we can
comment.
skip that. No
I mean,
worries.
I guess like for like personal reasons, like I don't know if you're gonna put it in or if you're gonna cut it out. Like there's some people that like I guess they don't want to see you succeed more than them.
Okay. No, that's
So that's where
fair.
it like kind of comes in. Like
Okay.
I and my expectation of the art world is like you help each other up,
Yeah.
like get up. Like it's about building that community, and you want to see the people that you love winning. So
Yeah.
I don't see that vision for me. Like trying to not like trying to wish better for somebody, but not better than me. That's not me. I'm like
Right.
we're all up. We're all gonna eat together. You
We're
know,
all in this together.
together.
I love
Yeah.
that. Okay. And so then at school, you started doing glasswork, correct?
Yes.
That is so cool. So for those of you who don't know, she is an incredible like
Glass
glass
blower, glass
blower,
worker.
glass worker. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but this
I
like
would say glass worker. I do a lot of like different kinds of glass making, so I feel like I do just work with a lot of different mediums of glass. There's a lot of different techniques and styles of glass that you can work with. I don't know. Always I'm always going to be a student of glass. Like there's no way that I'm ever going to like know everything that I need to know about glass, and that's what I think is really special about glass that
okay.
like I'll never get tired of it. I'm always going to be learning. Same thing with ceramics. I feel like there's a lot of like knowledge on those two things. Like there is with everything, honestly. I feel like when you approach it as like for your craftsmanship skills and like your artistic skills, you just gotta keep learning in order to improve.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. How did the glass come about? Was that a class offered in school,
Yeah.
or was that like a medium you chose while in class? Does that make sense?
It's a class
It's an actual
offered at school, yeah.
class.
So there's a like sculpture, they have also ceramics, they're separate, and then they also have glass. And then this year was the first year that they had two glass courses where it was one glass casting where you make like molds of glass and you
Hmm.
pour like well you don't pour, you melt the glass in so that way it falls into the mold. And then there's also like glass blowing where it's where you get glass out of a molten furnace and it's the consistency of honey,
Oh
and then you
wow.
blow air into it to make any vessel that you want. Or a sculpture, you don't have to use air, but it's called furnace glass or soft glass sculpting or glass blowing. There's also like a torch that you
That's
can work with. The torch is pretty cool. It's more accessible than furnace
hmm.
glass.
Was it daunting sort of getting into that because that seems so cool, but I'm also terrified of the logistics of that because you're dealing with, things that are like, I don't even,
2000
2,000,
degrees.
the thousands of degrees. Okay, I was gonna say 300 degree, thousands. Okay. So yeah, when you're like dealing with things like that, like, does it ever get sort of, were you like intimidated by it or sort of like, what if something happens, or were you just like, no, I really want to do this?
It was like a little bit of both. I think well, when I started, I didn't really get to see much of like the heat part, like the intensity of like working with the heat because of the pandemic.
Right.
So I didn't really get to see the magic of that. And when I started to see the magic of that, I had already fell in love with glass, like working with glass, and I was like, this is like really intense. And I really like I've been skydiving. I have like a bucket list. I want to swim with
Oh wow.
sharks and stuff like that. So like glass blowing is a form of adrenaline kind of. Every time you're working with glass, it's like hot. You have to be careful. You have to think about how cold your glass is, how hot it is. Like you think about the safety of your assistants, your team, communicating with your team so that nobody gets injured. So it's like a lot of things that you have to keep in mind, but I just like it cuz it's like it's crazy cool. It's like magic. It's everybody's working, everybody's doing like their own little dance. It's really cool.
That sounds really cool. So yeah, this is. It sounds like it's a much more of a communal type of practice as opposed to sort of like painting where you're sort of for the most part alone. Glass blowing, it seems like you. I mean, I guess you can do it alone, but it seems more like it's kind of a group effort. I guess.
Yeah. What I've experienced in the past is there are solo glass blowers. I just prefer to blow with like glass blow with the team because one, it's a safer environment. There's less risk of getting injured by yourself, and if you do get injured by yourself, somebody like if you get injured in the hot shop, somebody can like come and help you.
Right.
Versus if you're by yourself, like that's thousands of degrees burns. Like
Yeah.
glass goes exploding. Like what if something happens? Recently, I got cut on my foot and I had to like run out of the hot shop. It was weird. It was crazy.
Oh
Glass
my
is
god.
crazy,
Yeah.
but
It seems sounds like it.
yeah, I'm very thankful that it was just minor injury, I
Okay.
suppose. But it was like the scariest thing in my life, I would say. I low key thought I was gonna be out of commission for a while. I was
That's
out of commission for a week. I
terrifying.
couldn't walk for the first 3 days.
Are you good now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
I
glad
was
to
happy
hear.
to put on a shoe.
We love to hear that.
Yeah.
Um I'm for when you since you're doing it in a communal environment, how does that change sort of your art making practice? Like, do you ever sort of think about like I don't know, because you have to almost like rely on other folks for aid or for help. Because I know then some glass blowing techniques, like somebody has to hold something for you, somebody has to do something else for you. Like, how does, yeah, how does that affect your art making practice? Like, having to like sort of let go and realize like whatever happens, happens, you know?
I feel like I've experienced two like realms of this. Like the first realm is because I was a glass blower that started off in the like pandemic. There was no glass blowers before me.
Okay.
Um and I stayed with the industry for like a while, and I think that's why also Catherine Grace saw like how long and how dedicated I was, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to be part of my team." Um and what's it called? I lost my thought.
You were saying something about the two camps or the
Oh
two
yeah, yeah, yeah.
realms?
I didn't really have a lot of like people that I could ask for help or like how to like learn more. I was kind of like self-learning as I was going. And now that like have gotten a lot of opportunities to learn and like get scholarships and actually be able to understand the medium, I'm able to help others like students like teach. And also, I mean, blow glass also because you need a partner, like you kind of need the other person that's helping you to know glass almost the same level as you. And because I didn't have anybody that was like at my level of blowing glass then, and not a lot of people stick with the program, I guess I couldn't. I was hindered in the sense of like I had to teach my assistant
Mm.
how to blow glass the way that I needed.
Hmm.
Which isn't like a bad thing. I learned how to teach people how to blow glass. And I'm very thankful for that. And I'm also like able to see how people are growing with my tips. But also I'm thankful because I've met somebody who knows more in glass than me, and they have a lot of experience. So now they're teaching me and my assistant how to blow glass, and we're improving like exponentially. So it's really cool to see both ends of the spectrum of like how me getting help has impacted me blowing glass versus me helping other impacting me like in my teaching career.
Okay.
So I think it's really cool.
So like almost like as you were learning, you also had to almost immediately afterwards teach somebody else as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
which is a little bit tedious, but honestly, I'm a TA now for Ayaoki's glass class for beginners, and what like being able to teach somebody how to blow glass at the same time as I'm learning really taught me on how to look for mistakes. And now that I'm a
Mm.
TA in her class, I watch her demo and I watch her beginners blow glass, and I'm like, oh, here's my advice. This is not what you should be doing. You have to pay attention to the heat. Keep in mind that your stuff is getting cold. Like basically looking at all of the errors that could possibly happen to help them improve faster. And I've heard a lot of the advanced glass blowing students say like the beginners this semester have been very good, and I think it's because they've gotten a lot of help and a lot of like tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. And also like our teacher is amazing.
Slay. Shout out to
Yes.
who's your teacher?
Aya Oki.
Shout
Yes.
out. Woo!
We love you, Aya, if you're watching.
Shout out Aya. Okay. That sounds like it's a lovely sort of community experience, sort of in this creating work in which you're all trying to like help each other, watch each other's back, make sure everybody's sort of like keeping an eye out for one another. That sounds
Yeah.
very lovely.
Yeah, I think in my eyes, the glass blowing industry, honestly, I think this is also what makes me see everybody else as an artist, and I just want everybody to like succeed.
Mm.
Is the importance of having people on your team is you want to make sure that your team wants you to succeed as well.
Yeah.
And I saw this in a glass blowing movie called Sonolino. It's about a glass blowing master.
Mm.
And it's true, like, you want people on your team that's gonna see you succeed. Like, why would you want somebody on your team that's, like, not really 100% there for you?
Yeah.
And I think that's the magic of glass blowing, and I think that's what helped me, like, build my community, because I see that in everybody that I meet, like, why I don't know, there's no space for negativity in my life, or at least I try to make it that way,
Yeah.
and I think the glass industry taught me that, like, it's all about community.
You said something in that about that you see everyone as an artist. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
I would love for you to expand on that because that's such. I don't know.
I
I
might
really I
get
agree
called
as well.
crazy. I might get called crazy for this.
No, I want to hear more about that.
So, as an artist, like, I don't know, I examine my life a lot. Like, maybe it's also because like I go to therapy and I question myself a lot, but I've I've noticed that when we're children, we play, we make with our hands. We're like ancestrally, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, what part of the world. We were all like humans developing, and we used our hands to make. We did not live off of cities, industrialization, and stuff like that. We were artists before
Yeah.
we were anything. So like it's in our genes. So
Hmm.
everybody is an artist. Whatever you do, it's still a form of art in my opinion.
So do you think it's sort of like because kind of like the thought of like I think therefore I am,
Yes.
like I create therefore I am artist.
Yeah.
Ma-
But
ma-
also, like, it doesn't have to be, you could be an artist of life. You know,
okay.
you could just be
Oh
living, and like that could be your art form. Do you get me?
no, I
Like,
do.
people go out in nature and they just enjoy that, and that's the art of living.
Yeah, or like people who are caregivers, and it's sort of like I like to think about that with my mom, like her being such a caregiver is her way of making art for the
Yeah,
world.
like the art of love.
Yeah, the art of love. Exactly. There's a
Yeah.
there's a quote by Lana. I love Lana, and where she says like, "You don't get me. I'm a real poet. My love." Where does she go? Everything I do is art. My love making is my legacy. My I
Yes.
forgot the whole quote, but she basically says something about like my love is my art and it'll be my legacy or something.
I feel her on that. She's right.
No, she's real. I love her.
Me too. I love Lana. She's very queen.
She
She's
really
very queen.
is.
But yeah, I feel like she knows exactly what she's talking about. I also feel like maybe some audiences might not agree with this comment or statement or whatever, but if it has to do with the idea of God, and I'm not talking about like institutional God or like the churches or anything. I'm just like having a conversation of like if there is like an intelligent being that like governs life, um they created us, and as a creator, like don't as as a creator, I see an essence of me in what I create. So
Yeah.
if we were created by a god or by a higher intelligent being, isn't there an essence of them in us too? So
Hmm.
doesn't that make us special beings?
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
exactly.
that's just the thought of like also everybody being art. Like we also have something special. Like we have life that's special.
No, I 100% agree. I think that's also why my like slogan is like art should be lived in. It's not something that you
Yeah,
just sort of like hang on the wall and you're done with. It's something that
it's
you,
life practice.
yeah, you experience it, you live it, you are it, you be it, you know?
Yeah,
It's
art is just I don't know. I also think art saved my life. Like if I didn't find art, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good people in the art community. There's like I think also part of why I say the art of living is because I struggle with a mood disorder and I struggle with like
me
depression and stuff
too.
like that. So I think for me, part of my life purpose is just meeting people and being a master at the art of living. And
Yeah.
it's I think I struggle the most because I'm like an environmental advocate and I talk about that through my art sometimes. It's just I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot. I forgot what I was going through with that. Oh, the mood disorder and the art helping me through that. I feel like it's provided like a space where it's like a realm. I know you know what I'm talking about, where nothing really matters and it's
Oh
just really
yeah.
you and you just it's like a void where
You
you
like
can just
lock in.
yup. And it's and nobody can take that away from you.
No?
It's exactly what you want it to be and what you need it to be and it's a safe space and it's what you want it to be. And that's just I don't know, it's magic. It's a realm of magic.
Yeah, you're literally making your own reality, making your own world, your own language even.
Yeah. To be a creative, I'm so thankful. I'm so
I know.
thankful for that. I don't know, like I don't know how other people that aren't creatives like go about with the world like not having this kind of outlet to distress or just have silly thoughts and just put it down, paint it, make it into glass. Like I don't know. People need to tap into that more and I think the world would be a healthier place if we did that. It's part of our nature, so
Yeah. I mean, I think it's sort of what you were saying of like maybe their art making is something entirely
different.
different, you know, gardening or
Cooking,
cooking. Um, yeah, there's
you're
just like
right.
different ways,
Of art,
volunteering.
yeah. Teaching, being there.
Yeah,
Dang, art is everywhere.
it really is. And I think that I like asking artists sort of about what their views are on life and everything around it because I feel like a lot of that sort of directly impacts how they make their work and how they go about it and sort of what their work sort of means. So now that you're sort of saying this of like art, what do you say?
Environmental?
No, 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 the art of life.
Oh, yes.
And just sort of making me think about sort of how your piece, especially with like neon, that is something you kind of have to experience in life. Like you can
Yeah.
try to get a video. It's taking pictures of that was so difficult.
Yeah,
And
it's because it's light.
yeah, it's like how do you take a picture of that? You know, and like
It's cosmic light.
right. And like it shifts, it changes like it's so like delicate as well and like no matter how hard you try like it like I really do feel like I'm so sorry I could not do it justice. It's just beautiful and so I
I don't
think
think anybody can do it. I don't even think I can do it justice. I think only the viewer's eyes. Come
yeah,
look at it and you'll see it. You'll see
ex-
what we're talking about. It's very cool to see. I don't know. I love that piece, and I like that you talk about like not really getting that like it's something that you have to experience. I feel like it's also true when you're making it. Like
yeah,
neon is not accessible to a lot of people. It's actually a dying art.
yeah,
It's not really considered an art. It's starting to get into that realm. You're seeing it more in art spaces and museums. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity to display it at the Cheech. Um, it. It was actually the history of neon is crazy because there was one point where it was actually outlawed and it was illegal to have
Oh, no
neon.
way.
Yeah, it was during like the Great Depression. And the thing about neon is if you're not plugging it in and giving it electricity and essentially feeding it, then it's gonna die. And it will never light up again until you replace it with new.
Oh, no
Like,
way.
yeah. So it's important if you have a neon sign to keep like turning it on so that it has the electricity
Flowing
keeping the
through.
gases running. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So all of these businesses that had neon would have like broken neon signs and it became something ghetto or like not aesthetically pleasing and that's why it became outlawed. And then Las Vegas happened and it kind of got seen as something ghetto or like, like stripper
Raunchy.
culture,
Yeah.
like nightlife. Um but it's truly a craft. Like it really like it's an art form because you have to get into that realm when you're making it. You
Yeah.
have to you're starting to see it more as an art form as more neon artists are like using it to like express themselves and make other things that are not neon signs. But essentially the history of neon is neon signage and it's a new art form that's coming to play.
Hmm. That's so cool.
Yes.
Like hearing all of the just like history. I'm just,
I think that's also cool because coming in with the show theme of being like an alien or like kind
yeah,
of being
from the
yeah.
heavens. Yeah. I'm like, I'm still tripping out about the fact they said that you need to feed it. Like otherwise
Yeah.
it dies. Like I never thought
Yeah.
about that. So like a lot of old neons that they just like didn't plug in after a while, they just
Die.
die because of that unless you like put more gas into
Electricity.
it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I could be a little bit wrong because I am still very new in the like neon world, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Like I'm pretty
I
sure.
mean,
I'm
that
like,
seems about
yeah.
right.
I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be
I
wrong.
trust you.
I trust me too. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, I would like to now talk about that piece that you have right now at the
Yes,
museum.
let's talk about it now.
So, she has a piece in there. It's titled "Artist Signature." And I'm gonna read the statement. So you've read, or do you want to read it?
No, you read it, you
Okay.
read it. I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I'll probably
It's
mess it up.
okay. I'll try my best. I want to be seen as human regardless of how I present myself. I often find myself just existing, wanting to live and just be who I am. Why does it matter how I present or who I love? I just want to feel like a person. My culture makes it hard for femmes to feel equal because of machismo. I want to have a seat at the table even though I am femme presenting. I want to say what's on my mind without being invalidated or afraid because of who I am. I may be an alien, but I am good at what I do and deserve to be heard. Being in a male dominated field, I find myself growing tired of defending my craftsmanship due to my gender slash presentation. I'm hoping to transform spaces I'm hoping to transform spaces into a place where I can exist as a person. I hope that people come to see femininity as a way of expression. It's time to transform the idea that our presentation determines our abilities into appreciation of individuality. That was
Yes.
a lovely statement.
Thank you.
Harsh truth,
It
too.
is hard pills to swallow for some people.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, I'm like, now that I'm like hearing the statement of like you wanting to sort of like present yourself as who you are, I think that the neon is such a another sort of like thing of like you
It's
again, you can't
so
express it.
flashy too. It's a
Yeah.
flashy thing. Like you can't miss it.
Right. It's literally
It's like
glowing.
look at me, look at me. And I think it's so cool that it's my artist signature because it's me. It's literally part of me. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm here to stay. You can't
You can't.
unless I don't feed it, then I guess.
Right.
But other than that, like I don't know. I really love that art piece and like when I saw like the curatorial statement, I
Mhm.
was like, okay, I like this. I like that the light is literally a cosmetic light. Like I use
Yeah.
mercury and neon and it's something that like goes back to like gases that come
Okay.
from space and that like exist in our earth and it's natural. And then the tubing is also soda lime and it's like like things that you can find from earth.
Hmm.
Um that's just a little bit on the sustainable part. But as like an artist coming up in the industry and what I do, there's a lot of like people, male presenting people, or like just like super old time, old fashioned masculine people that they kind of don't like me stepping into the space, or they don't believe that I do what I do. I've like, yeah,
Boo.
literally, boo.
Boo.
I've been tabling at some events, and I was happy to have friends there because I felt like a lot of these experiences just kind of happened to me. I didn't really have like a lot of people saying that, and I've expressed it before. But there was this guy that had came up to my table when I was displaying glass and ceramic, and he comes up to my table and he's like, "Did you make all of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And he was like, "I don't believe that." And I was like, well, I have a website. It's myrazambranoart.com if you want to check it out. And I was like, you can check that out and see like all of my history with glass and the art industry, and like literally you can call my bluff. There's
Right.
literally documentation of my life.
Come
Like,
to the studio and find out.
yeah, and he was like, "No, thank you." I was like, "Well, that's on you being ignorant and not wanting to believe me because of the way that I present." And then also my dad, like, I'm building my own studio, and one day it will be ready for me to just make stuff in, hopefully glass and neon, maybe one day. Um, and I was telling my dad about how I wanted to go building wise and like keeping things structurally sound, and he was like, "No, let's do it this way, let's do it that way." And now I'm running into issues like a year later, because it's the way that he wanted to build it. He was also like, I was so mad. I was so mad.
Oh
He was
Lord.
like, "I don't need the instructions either to build it." And I was like, "Sir, this is a manufacturer thing. They come with instructions for a reason. You want to play Bob the Builder, but no, I'm the inspector here. Let's go this way." And also, like, some people in the industry have also like said that I only have the job that I have because I'm a girl. And I'm like, nah, you should look at my craftsman skills and like really see my work speaks for itself. I don't like I also have OCD, so I don't like seeing mistakes. I don't like providing like not quality. I like my things to be quality. So I just like to be good at what I do, and I think I just want to be seen for that. I think also as an artist I've lived through a lot. And I'm young, and I feel like I've realized that our body is separate from the soul. So my soul is just a soul, and my body is what it is, and it just looks like that. So I want people to see my soul. I don't want people to see the outside of me and be like, that that's just because that's what they look, that's how they present. No, I'm a person, I'm a being. That's what I am. Like, I don't know. And being able to say that and display that in like a museum, especially a museum for Chicano culture, is I think, very impactful for the industry and people like me. I don't know. I'm very excited and thankful for that opportunity. And I think it's really cool too because like not a lot of people accept people like us or like me. And like being able to say like I'm here, I'm present, that's like, I don't know, there's nothing more affirming to myself than that. And I'm very thankful for that. And I think the community is thankful that these conversations are being brought into spaces like that too.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that was one of our big intentions with this show was to just have more nuanced conversations. Have That's why sort of the show is about alien and sort of the alienness and sort of being, you know,
Othered.
othered and not included in a lot of these conversations. Um, Especially even from like where when I was talking about this with Emmanuel, from literally like the medium itself to the themes to who's making the work, all of it throughout. And I think like with yours, like you were talking about the neon now being recognized as art. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first time they've shown neon there at the
No, they
museum.
haven't. I
They
was
haven't?
talking to Jacob, I believe. Yeah, I was talking to Jacob and about the installation process because neon can be deadly, actually. Installing it incorrectly can be fatal
Oh
to the
wow.
audiences, to the installers, to like anyone. Because it's so like high voltage. To
Oh, I did
power
not
it,
know
yeah,
that.
it has a transformer, and then there's two wires that come out of this little box, and those little wires can never cross. If they cross, you have a high chance of arc, and an arc is a high voltage coming out of the electric current that's not supposed to come out. It's so powerful it can melt a hole through the glass. Yeah,
Wow.
and if it like touches a person, it can kill them, obviously. It can badly
Okay.
injure them. Obviously, it's a rush, a feeling, but not something that I'm trying to experience ever.
Right.
But yeah, I was talking to them and they're like, oh, this is not the first time that we've installed neon here. But I was like, you never know. You never know.
Okay.
So
Well, that explains you are very, what's the word? Just like organized. Cause like when you dropped it off when we were installing, you gave them like a whole like exactly how to do it with so many details on like how to install it and like it's making even. I mean, I figured I was like, seems like a very delicate procedure, but like now hearing also like the high stakes,
yeah,
not just for the integrity of the work, but also like the safety of
of
everyone
everyone.
and the the building
Yeah.
possibly catching on fire.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
that it's like such a to hear that it's such a the process of making it is such a insane process and like
It is.
even like turning it on can be such an insanely like d- energy power demanding process, but yet it's so like delicate and sort of just kind of like literally just
It's
like
dainty.
it's
It's
dainty,
cute.
she's a little cunty.
Yeah, she is.
Like it
Yeah.
has that sort of like ephemeral quality that it's like such an
It
interesting
does.
like
I
dichotomy.
know. I feel like I want to talk about the bombarding process because I think that's my favorite part. I didn't really experience it a lot because of my residency restrictions. There was only 24 hours provided. Um,
About the what
anyways,
process?
residency that I had received for neon making.
I don't know, you said about the bombarding
Oh, bombarding process.
what's that?
Yeah. So bombarding is basically the process where you insert the what is it? The gases
Hmm.
into your vessel. So you
Okay.
have this vessel, it has two electrodes. You can choose your gases. You can use argon, neon for sure. You can use argon, mercury, literally whatever gas, whatever color you're trying to get, etc., etc. This machine, it's so deadly. It's so deadly. It gets so you have to be very careful with it. You have to watch your hands, make sure that everybody around is not like I don't know, it gives me anxiety talking about it. But basically what it does is it gets everything really, really hot. And it burns out all of the impurities and then it vacuums out all of the pressure so it's high pressure in there.
Oh
And then
wow.
everything gets like put like all the gases get put in
Hmm.
and then you charge it with electricity for the first time and you get to see it glow up for the first time. But all of that is very scary because you're hooked up to electricity from the building or wherever you're doing
Oh,
that.
like
So it's
straight
like,
from the source. Like
yeah, scary.
that sounds really
It's
scary.
really cool. It reminds me of Frankenstein. I think that's also
Okay.
cool, like for the show, kind of, because,
That
like it's,
sci-fi element.
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like you're bringing life to something.
Yeah.
I mean, those atoms carry life when they have like electricity. I don't even know if that would fall under life, but like it has the movements, it has like
Right.
its own little, I don't know. Neon is really cool.
For this, you said you chose Mercury, right?
I chose Mercury and Neon.
May I ask why? For that one, was there like a specific significance for it? Because we were talking about maybe like the skies of Mercury, or is it just more like, no, I like the color, or like, because,
Originally, so I was working on my solo show during the time that I made the neon sign. I made it at Mona, the Museum of Neon Art in Glendale, and I didn't really have like a color in mind, but when they were showing us all the possible colors that we could achieve with clear tubing, I saw that. So I don't know if you've noticed when you first turn on the neon sign, it turns on red, and then
I have
it
never seen it turn.
you've never seen it red? I think you would really enjoy it when it's red.
Wait, do you mean like when you first charge it for the first time, or like
No,
every time you
like
switch it
every
on?
time you switch it on.
No, I have
Yeah.
never seen. Okay, so it turns on red.
Yes, and that's the neon. And then because it has mercury in it, it starts to switch into this blue and it
Oh,
stays that light blue that it gives. Yes.
So there's like a transitional period.
Yes. I
Oh,
like that because it plays on my mood disorder. Like I
okay.
used to be a very angry kid and now I'm more of like a tranquil person because I've learned to understand myself and understand my emotions and where they're coming from. And it's just also like part of me. Like, I don't know. Blue is also my favorite color. So, fun fact. Um,
Slay.
what else? I also think it's really cool with the concept for the show because, I'm non-binary. I don't really identify with either. And I like the purity color that it kind of gives. It does give like kind of gives me like holiness.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, glorified. I like that effect. And also for my show, it was around environmentalism, and I chose the red. I like the red because the anger of like not anything being solved, like not there's not enough being done for the environment, and that makes me angry. But also like the environment bringing this sense of calmness to me.
Hmm.
So it goes with a lot of like different themes, I think. Also, neon is just really cool. I like the
Period.
switching. Yeah, I just like the switching of the color too. Like that in
Hmm.
itself is magic, and I think when you see that, you'll be like, I understand.
Now I need to see them switch it on because I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
Maybe when you
Do you have
guys
a video of it?
deinstall, I don't think I do. I think
Okay.
I have pictures of it.
I'll have
But
to put
like,
it up here if we can
yeah,
find it. Because that sounds really, really cool. I'm also
I'll
when
show
since
you later.
okay, you can show me later.
Yeah.
Since you were saying that it's like an artist's signature, would you consider this a self-portrait?
Of my soul, yes.
Okay.
Of my soul, yes, definitely. But of like myself, the way that I present, not necessarily. Well, I guess yes, because with the statement that I
Mm-hmm.
like together, yeah,
Okay.
it's a self portrait. It's literally me. Bam.
This is me.
Yes. This is me.
This
This
is
is
I'm exactly
exactly where
where I'm
I'm
supposed
supposed
to
to
be
be.
now.
Something or something. Shine on me. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Insert lyrics. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. And I also want to say earlier, like, I'm so sorry to also hear that you've just been experiencing just like a lot of pushback as well from the community because of how you present, because they unfortunately take a look at you and have the stupid idea to say, you couldn't have done that.
Yeah, just because you can't do it doesn't mean I can't.
And I, real, real.
That's all I have to say.
A lot of projecting. Yeah, truly.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like every time it happens, it makes me into a stronger person. And I think that's why I'm able to say it like that because
Okay.
I've experienced it a lot. Like when I went to the Museum of Glass, like I also experienced it there by the team. I love
Woo.
y'all. Still though, I love y'all. Y'all are still great. But I don't know. In the beginning, I kind of did feel like because I was the only girl on the team, they probably saw me like
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, yeah, besides Catherine, but she's the gaffer. So I was the only girl on the team. And I felt like they saw me as like the less educated out of the
Hmm.
entire team when in reality I'm Catherine's like right hand woman.
Right.
I'm like the first person probably besides Aya. If Aya's not there, then it would be like me. When it was just the students or from that team, it was like me. And I feel like they kind of saw me as the fragile link in the team and I'm like, I know I look silly and goofy and I'm like silly and goofy,
But
but
I get it
just know I can
done.
yeah, I can lock in and get serious and it's good seriousness. I don't come here to play sometimes,
Except
but
when I do.
yeah,
Except
exactly.
when I do. Okay. So when you when we Emmanuel, I'm guessing I think Emmanuel reached out to
Yeah.
you. When they reached out to you, what was your sort of initial thoughts? Were you like immediately like, "Oh, I want this to be a signature," or like how did that sort of
Well, Emmanuel told me that they were specifically interested in the neon piece that they had
Okay.
seen. And I was very excited because I never thought that it would be displayed in a museum. I never thought that it would be displayed again after my show because I felt like it
Hmm.
was such a personal piece to me. It's literally my signature for all of my artworks. Like I didn't see it like I just saw it as like a personal piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's really, really cool. And then I read the curatorial statement and I was like, okay, this is like something that I can talk about, but also it was a little bit hard for me to like kind of navigate of like how I wanted to say what I wanted to say without offending anyone and
Mm-hmm.
not like I want people to understand where I'm coming from and I want people maybe people I don't know, maybe this is just my delusional part of my brain that's like maybe people don't think that this is actually happening, but it's a real thing that happens and I wanted to address that in this show field like it like felt like it was something perfect for me to talk about. And I had already been complaining to my friends about this a lot and I was like I just wish people could stop.
Right.
Um but people are just people and they act ways and it's not our responsibility. It's just more of like my job I think is to bring more awareness of how I want to be like treated in the industry
Mm-hmm.
or in my community. If it's not like something nice, then you won't find me there.
Right. Um, for this, since it is also sort of like at the Cheech and
Oh,
the everything in there is all around regarding like the Chicano work. I'm curious how sort of you see your work sort of fitting in there because I mean I could be wrong, but I personally haven't really seen very many Chicane sort of artists making neon or work sort of that nature, and I'm like, yeah, how has that sort of been for you, and how do you see yourself fitting in that?
I've felt very honored, honestly. Um, I had been in the Cheech before once, and I think honestly, just being in the Cheech period is amazing. It's an opportunity for people like me and people like you and like literally Chicanx people, Chicanos, Chicanas. Like we don't really have a platform. We don't really see ourselves in the art industry, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm being the person that I wish I had
Hmm.
to look up to, and I'm very just honored and I'm thankful. Yes.
I love that.
Yes. I don't know. I feel like we need more representation.
Yeah, no, 100% of all different kinds of sort of different mediums, different stories, different everything.
Yeah. I mean, the way that like humans are, there's just so many of us. We're all interesting.
Yeah,
Representation is cool. I love
period.
representation. Also, like when when I was asked about this, I feel like it's a really unique opportunity. Um, I don't know. Because I've been researching too, like how to get in before I was ever in the Cheech. I always wanted to be in the Cheech. Like since it opened, I was like, this is somewhere I want to be, somewhere where I want to exhibit my work. Like it became a goal of mine, and I would always research how to like make it in, like how to be part of the shows. And I couldn't find anything, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then to be asked in it, I was like, I cannot pass up this opportunity. A lot of like people I know dream of the same opportunities that I have. And as a Chicanx person, I don't feel like and I'm trying to be a role model too for like the younger self. Like my younger self needs that role model of like some Chicanx. And it's me to myself.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that I'm a role model to other people like me, younger Chicanx people. Just seeing that I'm being able to do it, I can't turn down all the opportunities because I think about the person that, like, the people that might look up to me. You know, if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
Exactly. That leads me into my next question. Like, I guess you already answered it, but I'll just ask it. Like, do you have like sort of any goal or intention you have for people to take away once they see your work, especially now that it's like at the Cheech, anybody who's gonna go out to see that or sees your work in general.
I think for this artwork that's in the Cheech, I think the message that I want people to take more is just remember that we're all human. Love is love. If you want to present how you want to present, do it. Don't let the outside world keep you from being who you want to be. Ultimately, you only have one life, so be happy with the person that you are, because you are the person that's going to stay in your life for the rest of your life. Um, yeah. And also, the people that want to say anything about you are also human, and they have their own lives and their own traumas and the things that they have to work through. And just remember that they're human. And they also need to remember that you are human too. Everybody just needs to remember that we're human. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Otherwise, like for my other artwork, it's more of like the environment, like
okay.
call on like action, things that could change, like animals that have been endangered, things that are like threatened, topics that need to be talked about, like water pollution, a lot of topics. But for the sake of the show, yeah, just
For this purpose,
humanness,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
humanness and alienness, because everybody is different.
Yeah. And for your other work, do you have anything that you're sort of working on moving forward that you would like to explore more? Um, yeah, because I know nothing about neon, so I'm like, is there something where you're like, oh, you want to try going bigger or try mixing different things or yeah.
So actually, I do. I have a series that I'm working on right now. The first part was in the Cheech, the show before last, this current show. So it was the last show. Um,
Dulce Hogar?
yes.
Yes.
And it's ceramic and glass. It is a ceramic heart sculpture that is like a head, and then it's
Oh,
the
I
bust.
saw, yes, I remember that one.
And then it has like a hole on the side of it, and in the hole you can see that there's a glass figure in it, and that's supposed to represent the soul. So it
Mhm.
talks about like the soul being separate from the body and how the body is just a vessel. And the second sculpture I'm currently working on right now, it's exactly the same like setup, except there's a staircase, and then I have my ceramic dog. I have a psychiatric service animal. Her name is Luna, and she helps me with my episodes.
Shout out
And
Luna.
yeah, Luna saves me. I love her. So she's a ceramic sculpture because she's something that's permanently impacted me and my journey. And there's also going to be a glass figurine that's working on it, and it's the first sculpture signifies an abandoned building, or like what it's like to feel like at your lowest point and just depressed and sad and just a feeling of loneliness. It's kind of hard to explain, and that's why I decided to make the sculpture, because I can't really put words to it. It's something more that you have to see.
Mhm.
And the third sculpture, the second sculpture is like in construction. You're building yourself up. You're
Mhm.
building like who you want to be, and like etc. So it's a process of being who you want to be and being okay with growing and having this hard episode, but making good good stuff come out of it at some point.
Yeah.
And the third sculpture, which I hope to one day achieve, I want it to incorporate with plasma. So plasma is a realm of neon, kind of, except it has
I was
one,
thinking plasma.
oh,
I was
like blood
thinking blood
plasma.
plasma. I was like,
That would be cool too.
oh, okay. Sorry,
I make it
plasma
bleed.
neon.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh huh.
Plasma neon. It's like neon, except it has one electrode instead of two, which is basically how the neon travels. If you have two electrodes, the electricity in the neon has a path to follow, versus with the one, it doesn't have the path to follow. So it's sporadic. It has its own life. And if a person, because
Is that the one that you can touch?
yes, and it
Okay.
moves. Yes, yes.
Okay. A
And the
plasma
reason,
ball.
yeah, the reason why it
Mm.
like moves is because humans have their own magnetic field. So they're gonna,
Oh, they get attracted to
yeah,
you. Okay.
they want to pull in the direction that there's energy.
Okay.
So that's the difference between plasma and neon.
Hmm.
And I want the third sculpture to have a figure
Hmm.
that's made out of borosilicate or whatever I end up making it out of, and plasma being on the inside, so that when you walk up to it, it kind of reacts to you,
That's
and
so
you can see the life coming out of from inside the sculpture. So you can
yeah.
see the life, like you can see my life evolving.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I used to be in a not so pretty place, but I'm working on myself, and I'm learning how to live with the world and live with the things that make it hard for me to live. Um, and just being a better person is the ultimate goal, and feeling stability. Also, when I enter that, that sculpting phase of the third sculpture, I want it to be canon to my life. I don't feel stable as an artist yet, so I don't want to start that third sculpture. I still feel like I'm working on myself and building myself up, and I'm still working on that sculpture. And it's mixed media, it has glass, ceramic. It's gonna have paper. It's gonna have recycled materials, mini sculptures, textiles. It's gonna have a little bit of everything, I think, and I think that's what makes it cool. And I'm gonna try to make it recycled, like found objects when I'm using to make the little furniture or whatever that goes inside. So that way it's like environmental still.
Mm-hmm. I think that's beautiful to also hear that you're sort of doing it. Like you said, I've never heard that before, the canon of my life. And that is beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, it seems like these are like self portraits or like reflections of chapters of your life.
They are. I feel like when I started the idea, the concept of it, I was going through a really hard time and I didn't know how to live, actually. I didn't know how to express myself. And I'm very thankful for the people that, like, all of my friends that helped me through that. They didn't know that they were saving my life when they were saving my life. And they're still part of my life, and I'm very thankful for them. And I guess they made me start to realize that I should start working on myself and start like there's a purpose to life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I felt very sad in the moment and it was terrible, a terrible like feeling. I still kind of feel that sometimes, but it's gotten better, which is why I'm in the second sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
The first one talks a lot about isolation and just being alone. The second one is like my dog is introduced, like it feels a lot more alive. The
The
colors, the
steps.
steps.
Mm-hmm.
I even changed the color scheme. Like everything is different and it's just about growth. And I don't know. I like making art that speaks from my soul. And that's ultimately what my art is. Like things that I feel like speak from my soul. And I think that's where like that realm comes into play.
Yeah, and I also think that the last one, using plasma, I think would be a really cool way to sort of, in like a way that you can see sort of the soul, because with those, they sort of, it just like reacts to your body, reacts to your aura, and every time it's different depending on
The
who's in front
person.
of it and how they're moving with it and everything. So I think that's a beautiful way to sort of showcase like an
Thank
aura,
you.
because like it's ever changing. It's ever, you can't really grab it. It just is. You just have to be
Yeah.
there to see it.
I definitely feel that that's why I chose I think so much. I think so much. And
I
that's why I
love
chose
that.
that. I chose that medium because the first sculpture, the reason why I felt like that was because somebody impacted my life very horribly in a negative way and I want the third sculpture to like everybody's going to impact my life whether it's a positive or negative way, but I've grown to the point where I can let that affect me or not affect me.
Mhm.
And my mindset is a lot different from the person that I was when I started that project. And just to see like it's been 2 years since I've gotten that idea. So like just to see it being into fruition and like being canon with my life is amazing. Like it's crazy that they literally are me.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think this it's the same with
Yeah.
the piece at the Cheech.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's not even just you, but also like anyone else who also feels the same way.
Yeah, I actually did a workshop at the Cheech, a painting workshop, and I had a a visitor come and see, and they ran up to the workshop and they were crying and they thought the B, she was also one of the showmates there and she was helping me run the workshop. They thought B was me, so they were crying to B about the artwork. And then B later
Mhm.
told me that there was somebody crying because of the artwork, but she still came up to me and told me what the artwork meant for her and it felt for her. And a lot of people have like told me a lot of like different
Mm.
like meanings for it, and I'm like, that's really cool. Like there's so much that a
Yeah.
lot of people feel when they see it, and I didn't know that it was gonna mean a lot of different things. So it's really cool to see how people are impacted by my art and how they impact me too,
Yeah. It's like
like a mirror.
a mirror and a dancing act, a balancing act of like a conversation, a back and forth between how you were intending to it, how it's perceived, and then thus it also affects maybe how you, things sort of affects how you also think about the work in relation to yourself. And yeah.
Yeah, I like feel like I have five brains in my head when it comes to the work too. I don't know. I think about every little, like the colors mean something to me.
Yeah.
Every like, I don't know. I think also making those sculptures is like so physically demanding. Like I'm literally kind of killing myself to make those. But I love it. I do it.
And not do it
I
again.
do it again. I'm doing it again. It's a series, so
Yeah.
and it gets better and harder every time I do it.
Well, I
Wait till
commend you
you
for
see the
that.
second one.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for the world to see it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
No
Would you like to
worries.
let them know where they can find you? I've been saying this at the end of the podcast. Like, y'all, if you love their work, put them in your show. Buy their
Yes.
work before they're dead. That is one of my key takeaways for a lot of this. I'm like, give people flowers while they're still here. Put them in their shows while they're still here. Don't wait till they're dead to put them in your
Yeah,
shows.
I think about that all the time, and I'm like, Van Gogh.
Like, didn't see anything until after he passed away.
Yeah,
And we
like
don't want to do that.
no, I'm very thankful for all the people that have like supported me and like put me in the spaces that I've been in and helped me grow as an artist. I don't know, like I don't think there's words that can like express the amount of gratitude that I feel like, I don't know, like the feeling that I feel of gratitude is like the same feeling that I feel like with the epiphany of life. Like
Hmm.
everybody is magic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a great feeling and I want to say thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, go check out their work. What is your
Yes.
Instagram?
My Instagram is Mayra's Artique, Mayra underscore S underscore ARTIQUE.
And then your website as well. You want to
Yeah, my website is myrazambranoart.com.
slay. And then
Yes.
y'all can find me on Instagram, Art Perry. I now have an Instagram as well for the podcast for clips, Red Thoughts. Perry, I think is what it is. I just made it this morning. Um, but yeah, go check it out. Go check out more of her work. They're incredible. Support the arts. And yeah, let us know any thoughts you have. And thank you so much for coming out here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Oh,
It's truly an honor.
mine. Alrighty. Ciao.
Bye.
Slay.